Hey everybody, it's Katie. Welcome to episode 6 of my ancient jungle. Last time we worked on this big, beautiful walkway through the dense jungle, but today we are doing our very last build over in the middle of the path. I'm actually walking the path backwards at the moment, but you can see there's some space down here. I really want to put a little bench down here so that you can sort of see the jungle. And then we have this platform here. The rocks are already spawning in. From that is another big beautiful area that needs to be decorated, and then we're just going to jump across the rocks to see the third big area that's ready to be decorated. And you'll see all 6 of these rocks are already up here in the area, which is convenient. You see, my plan is to create a really cool excavation site and a couple new ruins in these 3 beautiful areas that we have, and one of them is going to be a rock garden. I'm really excited to get into today's build because I think it's going to be some unique type of space available to us. The very first thing I'm going to do is try and see how many trees I can get tucked in around the water areas over here. Once I know how many trees are capable of dipping into these little spots kind of around the perimeter of the area, I'll be ready to start adding in decoration designs, filling in the jungle, and finishing the very last episode of this ancient jungle island. Unlike the last few episodes, the areas that I'm working on today had a real plan in place. I knew exactly where I wanted a lot of the things to be. These are some of the ideas that I came up with when I first decided to do a little bit of this ancient jungle feel, and they just all happened to be in the middle of the island, so we're doing them last. One of the big reasons for that is because rock gardens, which is a big centerpiece of today's episode, is definitely easier. Rock gardens, by far, definitely easier to do the last thing on the island. It enables you to make sure every other single space on the island is completely covered and the rock has no choice but to go where you want it to go. As I said already, the very first thing I had to do was figure out how many trees I could get into the edges where the water was. I did a lot of waterscaping for this island, and it was one of the very first things I did, but getting a tree to fit exactly in a niche against a cliff and a river is very difficult. With the perimeter and the pathing done, I started on the first area, which is an excavation site for all the explorers and archaeologists on the island. I changed my mind a ton when I was trying to figure out where to put the dirt, and I finally decided to work on the hole first. You see, I wanted a couple cute little treasures to be buried 1 level deep, so it looked as if they were just uncovering them, but still hadn't completely removed them from their ancient site. The second thing I set about doing was adding a little bit more dirt and figuring out room for the Stonehenge Monument. I am using every single one of the ruins or ancient structures on this island all together. This little bit of an ancient culture that we are imagining for our Animal Crossing island needs all the different props and all of the different elements that we put together in the game. So they are a very creative people, obviously, that we've uncovered. After getting some basic props down, I went ahead and set in where the rest of the trees and other elements were going to be and dropped some of the little gyroid fragments and other things just to make this area really look as if it was a dig site. Once I was happy with the area, I started putting custom designs and different forest elements all around everything else. You see, if I'm going to do the rock garden and everything's going to come together, every spot on the island has to be filled. This is all pretty easy because I've been doing the same patterns and the same props for most of the island. Lots and lots of different flowers and jungle leaves and different mum cushions and plants. It's the whole same variety I've been using. I added in a bench and a map and started down on the next level. When the ancient Olmec heads were first discovered, they were completely buried, and even to this day they haven't actually found very many of them that are some of the only things left of an entire culture, and I think that is so cool. If you didn't know, that's what this rockhead statue is from, a Mesoamerican people in the southern part of Mexico that really only left these heads and just a few other artifacts because they were so ancient. I loved putting all of these 3 Olmec heads together, and I really wanted that one buried down below the ground. I love the way that that looks and came out, like it's just where they uncovered it, and I just think it has a lot of charm that way. Just like everything else, filling in every inch of the island, patterns and flowers, and all of the different elements needed, but I really liked putting the roped path in different areas, just to reiterate the fact that it was a tourist island. Just a few finishing touches to the scenic area below, and we are ready to start working on the rock garden. Okay, all the areas around me are done, which means this is the very last bit of land on the entire island that doesn't have something or some type of pattern on it. So when all the rocks spawn back, they have no choice but to spawn right here in this spot. So here is my plan. I am going to put together a little bit of a ruin that incorporates the rocks. I'm going to use a couple of these beautiful arches and some of the pillars to just create a little bit of an area around where the rocks come in. It's going to be a good amount of time traveling to get one rock in, and then the other, and then another, and I want them to come in some very specific spots. So I'm going to put some empty patterns down, do a little time traveling, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, the jungle island is done and the very last area is ready for us to tour. I can't wait to show you guys. I'm really excited about quite a few of the areas. The first one up here, of course, is the little excavation site. Check it out. I really love the way you can see just the top of the statue's head coming out of the hole and everything in there just looking perfect to me. All of our little explorers have been busy at work, obviously. The second area is the rock garden. I think this all came together just magnificently. I really love the way that the pattern on the bottom, the rocks just broken up and random, and the pillars all covered in vines and moss. The rocks, of course, scattered in there. This might be my favorite rock garden I've ever done. I just love it. I love all the weeds and everything about it. Down from the rock garden is the other big area with the ruins. Look at these beautiful heads. These are the Olmec head statues, and they were really buried when they found them, so I think this just comes out perfect. The last part of today's tour was this little area down here by the waterfall. I love the way that it produces a beautiful area to look up at the jungle and the water, and it's just perfect. What do you think? Do you think these areas really add to the vibe of the island? I'm really excited to have finished the jungle island and be started on the next theme, which I've already picked out. I can't wait to show you guys. I hope you found something useful here and continue creating in this game. Until next time, have the best Animal Crossing day.